Hi again. Welcome to Retirement Dream Builders and welcome to the final part of our four-part series. And I'm Jen once again, and this is Danielle, our co-host. And today we're getting a real about long-term life abroad. So basically in the Philippines also. We're gonna cover the why, the lifestyle, and of course some of the logistics that Dan experienced. And basically now it's the time for the truth. So the good, the bad, whatever it is, the parts you only learn once you've settled in for a while. And Daniel is gonna share what he loved most, what he still gets a need to learn more, the positive, the negative, and what he did differently if he had the chance to like start over again. So if you're serious, guys, for retiring overseas, this part will give you clarity. And good morning, Dan. How was your day today?
Hi, Jen. Great day. Great day. Good to see you.
Okay. So we're talking about the living. How was the living, or what do you love the most when you're living in the Philippines?
So, what's it really like to live in the Philippines?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, first, I would say what's it like to live in the Philippines is very different, depends where you go. So, if you go to a poorer area, just like any nation, if you go to a poor area, it's a completely different lifestyle than a wealthy area. Right. So just be aware that the Philippines, just like the United States or Australia, has rich areas and poor areas. So I'm going to focus mostly on the richer areas. But what I would say as a downside is in the poorer areas, you'll find one, there's probably no Starbucks. And that's already traumatic for me because I love taking my time and finding my emotional center with coffee every morning. But there's also less organization, infrastructure, some things we would take for granted in the US. So think of it more like the mountainous areas of Tennessee or possibly Arkansas or wherever, West Virginia. Places where the US is famous for not quite having the infrastructure there yet. And it's just predictable. Right. So in those places, it's a different way of life. And I don't live there in the United States, and I wouldn't live there in the Philippines. So I guess I would just say be realistic. If you need to save a massive amount of money and you only want to pay $1,000 or less per month, yes, you can do that in the Philippines. But you're going to be in a middle class or a lower middle class area, not a rich area. Just be realistic. However, for a rich area, I would say $2,500 a month, you're going to live like a king. All right. And so in the US, you need 10 grand to have that same lifestyle. And here it's 2,500. So your money goes 4 times farther. I think that's the biggest thing I was struck by. Now, you can go to incredibly expensive restaurants because they do have some. Well, if you do that, you should know that it's going to still be about half price to America, but it's still expensive, right? So you got to think about realistic things. So for me, one downside surprise is I was walking. I like to walk. I like a city environment because I enjoy the fact that I can walk. Great exercise, and I just take in everything better. And I was near a big mall, and I was waiting for a cab. And there was about a line of 30 cabs waiting to have their turn to go pick people up. And I just kind of waved at them because I wasn't at the mall. I was kind of next door. And nobody came towards me. I going, well, what's up with that? Well, one, they're used to waiting in lines more than U.S. people are. So we don't have to wait in lines quite so much. Two, the guy picks me up finally. And he says, oh, all those people are afraid of you because they can see you're an American and they don't speak English. Really? Okay, well, that makes sense. But I've not had any difficulty with the language, except one time I was lost and my phone ran out, so I didn't have a map and I couldn't call for Uber or anything like that. And I was surrounded by people who didn't speak English. But they were all having fun. If they did speak English, they just didn't feel like it or something, And somebody reached out to me. She looked like she was somebody's mom. And she was like, come here. She could see I couldn't get on my phone or whatever. She was very observant. And she brought me into a store and told me where I could plug in. And I didn't have my charger. She said, here, you can use my charger for a little bit. And they helped me charge my phone. She didn't even speak that good of English. So just the kindness, I think, is also something I notice. They're very kind. Everybody is kind. And it's just part of their nature. Now, yes, you will find one rude person somewhere. If you look, obviously, that's just people. But I would say far more friendly and helpful than what I ever found in America.
Okay, I see. That's a great. And I can say I'm a Filipina, so you're right then about the kindness part. Yeah, you mentioned the things that you experience in the downside, the frustrations, and the real experience, especially in the infrastructure, the people. So aside from that, you mentioned also about the things that you like to do, the Starbucks, the cafes.
Yeah,
So how you really adapted in the Philippines and what really helps you stay grounded and happy
sure.
while you're experiencing everything, the
Well,
change?
it's very easy to make new friends. But let me just warn all the Americans, when you go to Starbucks, it's not what you're used to. When I go to Starbucks in the Philippines, the pastries, the cinnamon, they're better. All right. One, they're better. Two, the sandwiches are terrible compared, because when I go to Starbucks, I want the same thing I always get, either a ham, egg and cheese or a sausage, egg and cheese. And I don't remember if they have sausage, but what I was shocked to find out is that they have a Spam egg and cheese. I was like,
Oh,
what? Spam? Who eats Spam? Anyway, they love Spam. So Spam, egg, and cheese is actually a thing at Starbucks here. I just shake my head. My father, that's like something my father would eat after World War II. He'd eat that, or Braunschweiger, which is this meat that comes out like peanut butter and you spread it out. I don't like either one of those. I had to eat some of that as a kid. So I just have a resistance to it. But anyway, that's just a little funny surprise, Starbucks. I think the other thing is really how hard everybody seems to work. Most people are very, very helpful. And it didn't take long for a couple of different stores or restaurants to recognize me. And it was, maybe it's my size because I'm 6'2". And people normally say, wow, you're a big guy. So maybe that's it. I don't know. But I'd go into Starbucks and they go, hi, Daniel, you want your regular? And this is like my third time into the Starbucks. I go, yeah, that's great. So that was fun. I went into a Japanese restaurant, which I found out I really loved. The Japanese restaurant near my condo.
yeah,
This
Japanese food.
wonderful dish. Yeah. And so it was so fun. So I think I've lost my way on your question, though. So refresh me get me back on track, I guess.
Yeah, you're still on track.
Okay.
It's about how you stay grounded and happy while you're here living for more than a year, half a year, I guess, right?
Yep. Yep. I think for me, one, I am hardwired that I do need my personal quiet space every day. So because I actually need that, even if I'm in my, luxury vacation spot in Miami or something, I still need that. And so I enjoy that when I'm walking, but also sitting. I like a quiet cup of coffee. I don't want too much activity all around me. And if it is, it's their activity, not my activity. I can watch it, but I don't have to participate. And I'm a thinker, so my brain's always working, and I always have way too many things on my plate of what I'm thinking and dreaming and planning to do next. I'm always that way. I can't help myself. So I think grounded, just the walking and talking to people. I walked from my condo, and this is a very nice area, a wealthy area, walking from my condo to the Starbucks, which is about a half a mile from my condo or so, not that far, and comfortable walk. And there was a young girl there. And I'm going to say she was 5 years old, and she looked like she hadn't eaten in a while. And that's always hard to see. I'm hired. I will probably err on the side of being kind and caring and generous. I don't just turn a cold heart and walk away. Yeah, sucks to be you. I'm not that guy. So I reached in to my pocket and gave her a 500 peso bill. Now that's like $8 or something, right? Let me think. What is that actually? Is that
That's
if I go, yeah, 500 divided by 57 Yeah, 8.77. So $8.77. So I
And
handed
that
that
is
to her.
big money also in the Philippines. So that would be
That's
helpful.
what.
That's a big money here in the
Yeah.
Philippines, actually.
And I handed her the 500 peso, and I thought, she'd be thrilled. And she
Yeah,
just
so much.
kind of groaned, didn't really do anything. I said, well, I don't know what else to do. I can't be everybody's dad. So I just moved on. And then
Okay.
I noticed 2 days later, she was there again. And this time, she had a more excited look when she saw me. Like, okay, that guy's an easy mark. He's gonna help me. But she didn't. I think she did not recognize that that was good money. She didn't maybe know that 500 bill versus 1 peso or something that she did. I don't think she understood the difference. So this time I handed her coin, and I handed her about, I don't know, another 500, maybe 200 peso worth of coin. And all those clings went into her hand, and her eyes brightened up so much. She knew what the coin was, not what the bill
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And I said, you should go to McDonald's right there and go eat. Instead of just bring it home and starve with everybody, you should go to McDonald's and go eat. And I did not see her again, but she was so grateful, said thank you 3 times. So I think there is poverty all over the world. And if I'm in the United States, there's poverty if I go into the poor areas, right? And it's that way in every country. So just be aware. In the Philippines, the contrast between incredibly wealthy and regular people is huge, more so than the United States. And so that's just one thing to be aware of. Most people feel like their life is good. Most people that I meet in the Philippines, no matter their status, feel like, I love living here. I love life, and I have a great family, and it's great to make a new friend. And they live grateful, I think, for the most part, even though they have a lot of dreams and desires that they don't know will ever come. I think that's wonderful. I was in Argentina walking, and they also had a lot of poverty with the previous president. The new president's making a lot of improvements in the country. And I did the same thing. There was a couple there, and this is the wealthy area of Buenos Aires, and I'm walking and had a family with a mother and a child sitting there, and they looked destitute, and I did the same thing, gave about the same amount of money, and I had no more cash on me. And then this guy comes up wanting money. He was angry. And what I noticed is Argentina, those people, when they're hurting, they're angry. Philippines, when people are hurting, I didn't notice the anger. I'm sure there are, and it's just humanity, but I noticed there was a better attitude towards life in general. So I just thought that difference was nice. And in the United States, we have a serious homeless problem because of liberal policies, and those have not worked. It creates some of the problems worse. But just be aware of the difference. It is a different culture, but in general, everybody's respectful. Maybe it's because I'm a big guy. Maybe it's because I'm an American. Maybe it's just because I'm a white guy. I don't know. But they're just so respectful. I feel so welcome when I'm in the Philippines. So being grounded, there's nothing I feel like gets in my way of that, because I still get to have my routine. I still have friends, and making friends is super easy. And it's just a wonderful place. For me, it's easier to make friends in the Philippines than in the United States. If I make friends in the United States, it's like you have to go to a bar and sit down next to somebody having a beer or something, and then that person is easy to become a friend, maybe. But in general, when I'm at Starbucks people don't want to make a bunch of friends, but I made several friends at Starbucks that were just customers like I am. So I guess the difference is to understand it's not just a fantasy paradise. People are people.
Yeah.
And, you have to if you have no happiness in your life and you come to the Philippines, you will bring who you are with you. So that person who you're escaping is, still there when you look in the mirror. So I would just say, find a way to live grateful every day and believe in dreams. You can still dream. I don't care how old you are. You can still dream. I have all kinds of dreams. I'm very young. I'm barely 66, and I have a ton of dreams for tomorrow and the next year. I just live that way. I'm always looking for adventure, always being grateful, and I don't live negative. So there's a lot of negative things. I'm positive. I just have to take time to think about them. I live grateful every day. I really do. And I don't see myself as a victim, even if I was a victim for a certain event. I just move along and understand the problem and then focus on the answer. And I'm so focused on the answer, it's not like there's no problems. It's just that I adapt, I overcome, and I don't feel like that's a big burden in life. Some people just stare at the problem and that's all they can do. They never learn how to adapt and overcome. And so, any country you live in, you'll have that challenge. Honest, I've talked about some of the biggest challenges I had was that. So,
Yeah. But if our subscribers ask you then, would you do it again? Travel
oh, yeah.
Philippines, not just Philippines, but other countries that you would love to
Yeah.
go back?
I do love Buenos Aires. And I think that would be my second choice to retire. You can buy a condo in Buenos Aires cheaper than the Philippines. At least you could 2 years ago. And it's in the high end area, and you can walk to all the restaurants and coffee shops, and it's wonderful. And most of the people are good, but there's a different culture, and in that culture, you start your nightlife at 11 p.m. And they go till morning, basically, and I'm not the night party guy, so I didn't enjoy that cultural part of the nation too much. But I think Argentina has more anger than what I saw in the Philippines. And Italy also, sometimes, you go to an Italian coffee shop and you can see they're working hard. They're having a challenge. The economy's not been good and the real estate is expensive. And sometimes they're just angry. Oh, here's an American. Great, just what I need, an American. We're all so positive and, we hate your optimism and it just makes my misery feel more miserable or something. But I haven't found that in the Philippines. So I would definitely do it again. And I think I made the right choice by focusing on the Philippines. I would say 3 places in particular. BGC is one of the nicest spots, but it is busy. It is in Manila. The air quality is not as good, but it's not bad, I didn't feel, but it's not as good. Second is Clark, where it's going to become the new capital and the emergency response center for the country. Former U.S. military base, but now it's just like BGC, planned community-wide sidewalks, a lot of great things. You go past a wall into a new set of streets, and then you're in the old Philippines from World War II, and that's the things people show on television. But the wonderful areas, hilltop homes, great views. I really enjoyed Clark. And then Iloilo, and I chose Iloilo over all the rest because it's smaller, 300,000 people, roads are not too bad. They're very comfortable and wonderful people. It's a city of love. And I would say that's how I describe it. Everybody is friendly, expats and otherwise. So, yeah, I'd definitely do it again. And I would definitely go back to Iloilo. It's such a great town. And I love the fact that I can have an American lifestyle there and everybody speaks English. I don't know, it just fits for me.
That's the close of our 4-part series with Daniel. But your retirement story is just getting started. What if your dream life abroad was closer than you think? Stay tuned for our upcoming 3-part series packed with insider's tips, top destinations, and the strategies that take the guesswork of retiring well. Hit that subscribe button, guys, and share this with someone planning their next chapter, and keep building your dream with us here on Retirement Dream Builders.
Thanks, Chad.